Hi, welcome to my walkthrough of the Prophet 8. I've done a comparison of the Prophet 6 versus the Prophet 8 and was asked to give a walkthrough of the Prophet 8, which I thought, as everything's set up in the studio, it shouldn't be too difficult to do. So I'll tell you what, let's go from turning the machine on. Lots of lovely flashing lights. So it's working and the sounds are coming through. So a quick overview, it's got 3 envelopes. It's got a filter envelope, an amp envelope, but this envelope 3 is great. It's assignable to anything you like, and you can also use it as an LFO, sort of a weird shaped LFO by making it loop on itself. That's really good. You can have 4 LFOs, loads of destinations for the LFOs. Not sure how many there's, 40 or something. Again, modulation sources. You can have various modulation sources, velocity, pressure, noise, LFOs, the sequencer, going to the same destinations. Obviously, you can change the amount of each of those. This section here, we've got some miscellaneous parameters, volume, name, unison modes and stuff. We'll go through all those in a second. Each sound can have up to 4 oscillators because you can stack A and B voices together. Voice A, 1 and 2, oscillator 1, oscillator 2 plus noise. Voice B, oscillator 1, oscillator 2 plus noise. So both identical voices. You've got 2 separate outputs here. So voice A will come out of the main output and voice B will come out of the main output unless you put an additional stereo line in to output B, in which case sound B or voice B will come out of this output, which means that you can actually put separate effects. You can put them through the desk and it'll act as 2 separate keyboards effectively, which is brilliant. You know, you can layer it or you can split it. So have a bass line going through a distortion unit or a compressor, and you could have pads on your right hand going through chorus or reverb or whatever you like. So that's really flexible, that section. Okay, so let's look at the main features of the synth now. How do you scroll through parameters? You know, how do you get hands on with it? So we can scroll through the sounds using the top knob there. Parameter 2 button will go to bank 2. So let's go back to bank 1. You can sort of see. We'll flick through. Using the parameter knob, or we can use these sort of like fine-tune knobs, almost the yes and no knob. So one thing you can't do is jump from sound 65 to sound 117 without having to scroll through, and then as you get close, use these. Another thing that these knobs will do is anything that you tweak, this parameter 2 knob will then take it on. So I've played with the frequency. Frequency comes up. It shows you on the top here what it was originally, and it shows you down here where you are now. And you can change that with this. But to get anything to 0, press yes and no together. So that's handy when you're trying to get these sort of knobs that go from minus 127 to 127, like the envelope amount. Just to get that right on 0, really simple. So if you're trying to reset a sound in particular, 0, 0, 0, key amount 0, and then you've got, get to where you're going really quickly. So say, as you turn a knob, you see the old value and the new value, which is really handy if you're, setting up sounds, or you're in the middle of a gig or whatnot. You think, shit, I've knocked the knob. where was it meant to be? And then there you go. There it is. I often use the editors. That's a really good way also of just seeing if you find a sound that you like and you want to tweak it and you want to know what's going on, because there's so many modulation possibilities. You can see all the modulation possibilities straight away. So that's really handy. So okay, global functions, transpose, MIDI channel, clock internal, MIDI in and out. So if you want to sync it to your DAW, you can. Program change, control, all this sort of MIDI nonsense no one ever looks at. Audio out stereo or mono. Quite handy, I suppose, if you're gigging and you've got a small mixer. Program change. Pop mode, you can either jump to the new value, which is what we've been doing here. So it's jumped straight from 148 to 14. So let's look at, I don't know, another one. attack. It was at 64, now it's at 61, so that's not a very good example. There you go, it was at 64 and it's jumped straight to 25. If we go back into the global mode, pass through, it'll wait until you've gone through the position, or I think there's a relative as well. So let's see what relative does on this. So if I start moving it down, it's at 64, it moves it away from that value wherever you go, and then you've got to tweak it all the way to 0 and all the way to 127 in order to get the actual value back on there. I don't know if I explained that very well, but this will be on 0 at the minute. So if I turn that down, it's not doing anything, but if I start turning it up, it says 17 there. That's quite clearly not on 17, it's quite clearly on over 60, but it's relative. Now if I turn it all the way to 120 back, all the full twist of the knob. This is the potentiometer edition, by the way. You'll then grab it and it's just like working like a potentiometer again. So let's go back into global mode. I like it on jump. Don't mind having the odd little little bits of excitement. There we go. Okay, what else have we got in here? Global LCD contrast, and you can see that changing. Ooh, and then it's sort of disappearing completely. R-platch, copying banks, etc., etc. Copying sound, so sort of all your standard fare, really. Right. So they're the main global parameters. Another one on this section here is compare. So compare to what we had originally. Let's tweak it. Compare. Really handy. And to right, push right and then yes. So right, and then click on yes, and it'll do it. If you don't want to, just come straight out again. This puts you into the program mode, so you can flick through the programs. And this edits layer B. As I said, there's two layers. There's layer A and there's layer B. So at the minute we're editing layer A. There is also a layer B. If I press stack AB and then edit B, it takes stack off. You can just hear B now. There you go. Put a low 4-pole on there. Sorry, a 2-pole. Take the 4-pole on. So if I go back to edit A, you'll see that this will change. There you go. So this is A. Let's go to edit layer B. And if we're not stacked or split, you're now just listening to edit B layer B on its own. Now we're listening to A on its own. And now if we stack them, you're listening to both. So you can adjust the volume between the two layers using the voice volume here. So here we can see we've got voice volume, name, oscillate 1, oscillator 2 key, oscillator slop glide mode. So we go through scroll through each of these. Go to voice volume, up and down. And again, you can use these parameters, this parameter to switch to do that. Knob, should say, rather than switch. Edit name, scroll across through the letters using parameter 1 and change the letters using parameter 2. And as with anything where you're scrolling through capitals and and figures and numbers, unless it's a right old pain in the backside to do that. But there you go. That's just the way it is. Oscillator 1, is it responding to the keyboard? Yes. That's almost every patch you do will ever use that, won't it? Take that off so you can hear. Turn that off. No. So oscillator 2, same. Let's put that back on. Actually, I'll confuse myself later on. Oscillator slop. Oscillator slop, you probably know, is like an emulation of a VCO, an old VCO. So with the each of the voices just wavering in and out of of pitch and phase, etc., etc. So it sort of adds a bit of depth to the sound, a bit of movement to it. Let's just make a quick sort of pad sound. One thing that doesn't annoy me about this, actually, to get back to where you are, you've got to click it back and then forth. So if I was So play with the frequency. Frequency comes up here. You can see the original value and your new value. And then to get back to oscillator slop, you've got to turn the switch, and it'll take you up to glide mode, or one up or one down, in order to get back to where you were. So that's a bit, I'm not sure how you get around that anyway. So slop's on 0 here. So all the voices are perfectly in tune, really tight. Then you start turning it up 1. Subtle, I can't really tell the difference there. 2, 3. I think you can start to hear that coming in now. If I play it and turn it off again, you can hear there's a definite difference there. Turn up to 4 and then 5. So you can hear there that they're sort of more washy, I suppose. That sounds really sort of bang on. Then turn it up again. So it gives it a more vintage feel. Pitch wheel range stands to reason. Unison mode. Unison mode. So we have this unison button over here. And put unison button on. On here it's on one voice, so we're playing one voice at a time. So essentially it's a monosynth now. It's only playing one at a time, so the release isn't hanging on. If I take that off, you'll hear the massive difference. Put that back on. So the different modes are one voice, all voices. And then it has a couple of detune modes. So we've got detune 1, 2, and 3, and it slightly detunes each of the voices. Detune 2, you can hear that as a twist the knob, you can hear that happening. And 3. That's all detune 3. All detune 2. All detune 1. And no detune. All detuned. Yeah, huge difference there. Really does get some. Get some big sounds there. Next along we have unison assign. So like on a few old monos, you can change the voice priority. So at the minute, let's put it onto unison mode, one voice. Go to here, so low note. It's got the priority. Low note retrigger, so now it'll retrigger the envelope. High note. High note retrigger. It retriggers the envelopes. Not having much of an envelope on, it's not making much of a difference, but there we go. So if I take the retrigger off, it's not retriggering. Okay, that's annoying. Let's just move that to there. And again, you've got where is it gone? High note and high note retrigger, and last note as well. Okay, sequencer mode, trigger modes, normal, resets and gates and stuff. Go into more of that when I talk about the sequencer. Envelope 3 repeat, off or on. Envelope 3 is this a separate assignable one here. If you put it onto a repeat, it'll act almost like, well, it will like act as an LFO. So let me think, what should we LFO? Envelope 3 destination, let's put the oscillator 1 frequency, amount. So we put the retrigger off. One shot, this alters the frequency of the oscillator. If we put repeat on, So some nice mad effects, but also, you know, if you start trying to sync stuff up to the door, and it's really nice for pads and stuff, things to sort of wash around. Very nice. We've missed sequencer mode, then ARP mode. So has an arpeggiator. Let's take that off. Arpeggiator on. ARP mode. That's up, down, up and down. And that depends on when you press the keys, and then 2 octaves up, 2 octaves down. So all the different sort of things on there, and I've showed you envelope repeat. So yeah, that's the miscellaneous parameters section. Let's move across now logically to the modulators. It might be it's logically from the layout point of view, maybe not logically from a sound design point of view, but hopefully it'll help you. So modulators, I have 4 modulators here: modulator source, modulator destination, and modulation amount. Modulator source, I think there's 20 sources and there's 42 destinations. So yeah, it can be really complex, this. So let's set up, just because it's easy to hear, I suppose, let's set up LFO1. Well, you can set up the LFOs separately here, 4 LFOs, and you can set the destination, the frequency, etc. over here. But you can also modulate them over here, which means actually LFO1 doesn't just have 1 destination. It can have 5 destinations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's leave this off for now, and let's do it from here, just so that we can hear what's happening. Also means I can sort of predict what might happen. There's LFO1. You can see the speed of the LFO flashing. Turn the amount up. Arpeggiator's on. I wonder what was going on there. Right. There we go. Quite obvious. So let's now set up modulator 2 to do the frequency of oscillator. Let's put LFO1. Let's do the oscillator 2. Hear the 2 of them. Well, let's change that to LFO2, for example, so it'll be a different frequency. Destination, oscillator 2 frequency, modulation source LFO2. LFO2 is going at a different speed to LFO1. Put the sync on. So if we take this one off, you'll hear that the sync should change. There you go. So as I say, you can put all sorts of things through there. So let's adjust envelope 3. Modulation source, LFO1 again. Destination 3 is, have a look at this, where have we got envelope 3 amount, so that's this one here. And the destination, let's just turn the modulation amount up. The destination of this is, let's change this to the low pass filter. Oh, I know, let's set it to LFO1. So now the actual speed of LFO1 will be adjusted by this. Like that. Takes a minute to scroll through the LFO1 frequency, so. So now you can hear that this is modulator 3 is modulating envelope 3, which is modulating LFO1, which is modulating in itself, then going into the modulation destinations over there. If in fact we change this to destination 3 to LFO3 frequency, or let's change that into a square, and destination oscillator 1 frequency, so now we should maybe hear something. Turn the frequency of that down. So there's just a whole host of things you can do. Imagine having a modular setup where you plug in one thing into this, into the other, into the other. You know, it's you know, it can get absolutely crazy. I mean, I'm not showing you beautiful sounds. This is really just, this is the basic features of how it works. So it seems natural now to move on to the LFOs. LFO 1 frequency. Let's turn these modulations off now, otherwise I get completely confused later on. Destination off. So turn this one off as well. This is really where the editor comes in handy. If you're going through some presets and you find that you find something you like, trying to find what's modulating what is really difficult. So having it on the screen is really handy. Although I've got to say the software is quite clunky and it's not really intuitive, but if you use it enough you can sort of get around it. But the main screen of this is what this sound is doing is really useful, I think, especially for complex sounds. Turn the destination off. Okay, LFO 1 frequency, 189 minute amount, turn that up, destination, oscillator 1 again. Change the shape, so that's triangle, reverse saw, sawtooth, square, random. Sort of sample and hold sort of thing. So you can do that with all you know, they're all independent. Nothing to, you know, you can do whatever you want with the 4 of them. But what's nice and interesting here is that we do actually have it can the LFOs can be synced to BPM. So here we've got a BPM of 120 BPM not there, and obviously that can be synced from externally. So that's adjusting it a 16th of a step, and you go all the way to 32 steps, which is 32 beats. So 1 step. In fact, let's take it off random because it makes it a bit more difficult to hear. Put it on square. So let's modulate oscillator 2 frequency by a synced amount. So let's put it to 2 steps. So you go, the 2 oscillators are being modulated. One's twice the speed of the other. Let's turn this one up to 4 steps. Really nice to be able to do that. And when you get into playing with a sequencer, you can, because everything's clocked to the BPM, the LFOs can be playing along with the sequencer, which is a really nice feature as well, or really nice thing. I don't know if it's a feature of a synth or just something you can do with it. So now we've done the more complex things. Let's get to the more simple things, shall we? Let's turn all these down. Or simplest thing to do, let's just reset the patch to basic patch programming. Yes. So single oscillator. Oscillator tune. Huge variation on that. And fine tune. 50 cents it looks like. And then the shape here we've got off. Sawtooth. This is where it's quite handy to flick through using these actually, because it means that you're not trying to find an exact spot with the encoder. So, has modulate 2 frequency by a synced amount. So let's put it to 2 steps. triangle, triangle saw, pulse, pulse from 0 through to 99. So that's on it's on 50 now. So using LFO to modulate that. Quick, let's have a look. Frequency, destination, oscillator 1 pulse width, amount, a bit. Simple enough. Nice classic sound. Let's bring in the mix then to oscillator 2. Let's take this off for now. Now something's oscillating that, isn't it? Something's playing around with oscillator 2. Still. Oh. There you go. So, bring in oscillator 2. So you can hear that's a sawtooth. 2 oscillators, then maybe slightly detune 1. Stick it up an octave higher if you like. Or 2 octaves higher. Okay. Nice. So that's messing about. That's creating level 1, layer 1, or layer A to use the correct Dave Smith parlance. Stack A and B. Got stack A and B lit. Click edit B. You're now editing the second layer. If you take that off and you've just got edit layer B lit, you're just listening to the new layer. So let's put on a 4-pole, for example. So put it off a 4-pole to a 2-pole. So let me take that off. We're now listening to layer A. That's it. That's layer B. That's layer A. No, it's not. It's changing layer B to a 4-pole. Layer A. Layer B. Stack them. I'm now editing B. Layer A should remain unchanged. I'm now editing A while playing them too. But layer B should remain unchanged, so let's edit layer B and listen to it. Unchanged. Now editing B. A remains unchanged. Are you with me? And now, when it's flashing, so press and hold, I'm editing both. Okay, so that can be a bit confusing when you're sound designer and you're in the middle of doing something and you've left that flashing and you start editing both layers when you didn't want to. Nasty. Okay. Glide. Oscillator glide. Let's take it. Let's listen to layer 1 for now. Let's take it back to 1 oscillator as well. So that's that. And noise. So I think that, oscillator sync as well, sync 2 to 1, so let's play them both. Let's take the noise off. Bring this down. So I've got them synced now, they're both playing. Hear them slightly detuned there. Sync them. I'll play with 1. So you can hear that stepping through as I go through the notes. If we set destination of this to oscillator 1 frequency. Nice and slow. Turn the amount up. Turn that, maybe let's do a sync sweep. So let's put the destination of this to oscillator 1 frequency. Put the amount well up. There we go, we're getting there. So that's the classic reso sweep. So we've got the sync there. Destination of this is the oscillator 1 frequency. It's synced to oscillator 2. We've set it up quite high, and then we're going to bring it down. If we put it, we've got a delay on each of these envelopes as well, which is quite handy. So it'll wait before it comes in, before the envelope kicks in. Yeah, so I think that that rounds up the oscillators section nicely. So logically, let's move on to the low pass filters. So the low pass filter, let's do program and yes again. So we have our simple basic patch. Frequency, we all know that. Resonance, 4-pole or 2-pole. So Oberheim style. Let's put an envelope on. Envelope, at the minute, I think it's sort of pretty much that when you on the basic patch. Let's put an envelope on. Envelope amount. Sticking a 4-pole on so we can hear the effect of the resonance. Makes it just a bit more obvious. Turn the velocity up, so hear the difference when I whack it. Key amount, so should be dull at the bottom. Not duller at the bottom. This is it. This is how much amount of the envelope it's putting on according to the keys, because you can hear a lot of meow as the frequencies altered by the amp amount down here. Not so much up there, so it's obviously higher. Either the frequency is higher. I think the frequency is higher up there. So down there. So obviously the amount of envelope change is significantly less up here. Confusing myself there. Yeah. Audio mod. This now brings in the filtered signal back into itself, so it does all mad. So you can be subtle or extreme. Take that off. Turn it back on again. So get some really nice dirty noises out of that. And obviously delay. You've got the delay on the. Let's turn that off. So you can hear it's coming in after the short delay. Type delay sustain. release. So they all stand to reason as well. Next up then, the amp section. Okay, so let's start again with the basic patch. So your basic amp section: delay, attack, decay, sustain, or release. All stand to reason. Obviously, again, if you look at the screen here, you can see the original patch values. So here, sustains on 64, releases 64, attack 0. So your basic patch has an amp envelope of this. Envelope amount. So this is all your standard stuff really. Velocity, pan spread. Pan spread should, hear that? Left to right, pan spread's working there. 0, so that's mono, and then it has, what it has is the voice going from left to right, left, or depending on which way your speakers are set up, I suppose. But that's nice when you've got, let's do it like a pad. Hear that? From widely pan to mono. Although what you could end up with is your bass note going from left to right, possibly. So yeah, not necessarily what you want with a pad, but there you go. And that does. Now the other one that I've not mentioned here is the VCA level. This is brilliant. What this does is it brings through the voices before the amp envelope. So stay on. Now what we've got there is the chords are played earlier, so they're just running through constantly, ignoring the amp envelope. So I've set all the voices onto C there. If you watch that again, I'll set them all to a G. Or put a chord on. Okay, so this is really nice for doing sort of modular style drones. So let's just show you that. Let's do a low pass frequency, and I'll do it. I'll do a few LFOs synced together, get some really nice effects. So you can hear that now. Let's alter the resonance with the LFO 2. Put it in sync. I don't know, let's try adding, let's do it pulse width on that. So pulse width modulation with frequency 3, see if we can sync that up and make it sort of, make it waft through. See if we can hear any difference. Not making too much there. Do it quickly it is. Add some noise or something. Just a whizzed past noise level. Reverse saw. quite high. Let's put it in sync again. So what's that noise sound like without the... So that's quite nice. Just something a bit unique about this, really. I do like that. So yeah, that's the amplitude section. That's the that's the amp envelope section. So we've done miscellaneous parameters, modulators, 1, 2, 3, that. So the next section to look at is the sequencer, which is vast, I suppose. So I'll try and run through that without getting too complicated. So what we have here is 16-step sequencer. Here's the steps. Everything in yellow is sequencer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 16. There's 16 steps on your sequencer. So we start off by editing the sequencer. 4 tracks, 1, 2, 3, 4. Modulation source. So modulation destination, sorry, the source is the sequencer, 1, 2, 3, 4. So modulation destination, oscillator all frequency. So that'd be standard, just making a tune. So each of these will assign a separate value to the sequencer. So we're going to change notes here. So let's do just a standard arpeggiator. So we'll go from C1. So at C sharp 1, go to these knobs here, these buttons here, sorry, to get me exactly on. C1, I don't know, let's go to G1. Some on F, gets me to G, go to C2, go to G, G3. It's really fiddly, this, I think, but because the more you do it, the quicker you can get to grips with it. I don't really use this myself because of this. That's E, so it goes to G again, and then finally C4. So turn the sequencer on. It's got all this madness going on. I didn't reset the sound, so let's destination off, 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 off. So get out of edit sequencer when you change any of the parameters, just make life easy for yourself. So this is playing through as this is the sequencer modes that we get in here. The miscellaneous parameters, sequencer modes, normal trigger, no reset. So it just comes in as this is playing through. You can have it so there's no gate. Key step, so. I suppose that's quite good if you're playing live and you've got a drummer who can't play in time. Save confusing everyone. So let's put that back to normal. So here we've got it's playing 8 plus 8, so it's 16 steps on total. So I want to stop this at 8, so we'll reset at 9. Don't forget, edit sequencer, reset at 9. That's a rest. one below rest is reset. So this should just only do these notes now. You can add rests in the middle, any way you like really, so that won't play. So that's track 1 playing. Track 2, let's modulate the frequency just for ease. So destination, let's put this as the low pass, and let's just wiggle a few of these around a bit. So I should be doing various things with the low pass. And this is actually, let's leave this at 16. Let's leave this at 12, shall we? So let's put a reset at there. So this is playing a different amount of let's be really freaky and change it at 10. So reset at 10, so it'll only play. So every time it plays, it's going to play slightly differently on the clock divide. That sounds like it's on 8ths. Stick onto 16ths. So you're getting the idea. Let's do the resonance on track 3. I mean, I'm doing really obvious things here, but so we're editing track 3 now. So let's just wiggle around with the resonance. Let's do this just to force. Let's leave that at rest that reset that 5. So resonance, track 3 is only playing through 4, cycling through 4 steps. Track 2 cycling through 10 steps, and track 1 is cycling through 8 steps. So they're the notes. This is the filter cutoff, and this is the filter resonance. So you can hear they're relative to what the frequency is set in the first place. So. That's a bit of craziness through the audio mod. Wow. I was turning the VCA level up to see if I could just leave it to drone. You can't drone the sequencer on this. You can with the you can't latch it. You can latch the arpeggiator, but you can't latch the sequencer, which I think is a real shame. It'd be nice to just play that and walk off and do something else. So I think that's about it. We've touched on the LFOs, envelopes, oscillators, filters, all of the various parameters. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope it's of use to those that have recently acquired a cheap Pro 8. Maybe there's more on the marketplace. Maybe now the Pro 6 is about on the Pro 12. So have fun, and thanks for listening, watching, and whatnot.